Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at the Eye of Zamrock Invasion, which is brought to you by Infinite Galaxy. It's for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 360 minutes. Out in the vast universe, long before the so-called becoming of the world, two gods fought for dominance over the galaxies. Through sheer luck, one saw an opening and cut the head from the other. It rolled over the universe, which lasted for countless years, until finally it stopped at the nexus of all dimensions. The god cried over its terrible fate, and thus the oceans came to be, and the world was named with its last breath, Zamrock, giving life to dragons and elves, shutting down one eye and forever crying in the other. This is how the Eye of Zamrock came to be. But now, demons who inhabit the dark twin dimension hold deep grudges and hatred against all living beings of the Eye. The Demon King was slain during a failed invasion. This left his younger brother, the new king of the demon realm. His lust for vengeance and hatred against all life pushed him to force open a portal in the middle of the Eye at the Crystal Lake Iris. It was in this dark hour that the almost forgotten prophecy was unearthed. It speaks of one kingdom that will rise above all others and build a crystal tower that will shine the light, which will destroy the invaders, saving the Eye and its people. You will become the leader of one of the 6 kingdoms of the Eye and balance your relationship with other players and your ulterior motives to become the leading kingdom. The goal of the game is to gain kingdom influence by doing 5 different types of actions: trade, build, battle, quest, and colonize. Kingdom influence enables you to build and level up your crystal towers. When one of the kingdoms manages to build their crystal tower to level 3, the portal closes and the dreaded demonic invasion is stopped. But if you fail to build the tower by the end of a certain number of turns, the Demon King comes out of the portal and breaks the world. Everybody loses. But beware, building the crystal tower does not ensure your victory. Throughout the game, by doing valiant actions, you collect Eye of Zamrock Medals. The kingdom that has the most by the end will be the winner. Will you lead your kingdom to victory? Will the prophecy come true? Or will the world fall before the demon legions? Let's find out. So, as you can see, this is a big, expansive game with so many options and possible directions you can take. But really, there's a couple key things here. If you don't, collectively at least, to some degree, work together to build the crystal tower, everyone's going to lose. But then, it really comes down to the Eye of Zamrock Medals. Now, these Zamrock Medals are going to be EOZs for short, and there's numerous ways to collect these through the course of the game. And you're going to be doing that via going on quests, you're going to be affecting kingdom influence, obviously building that crystal tower is one of the ways, collecting special maps, defeating special types of creatures, as well as the demon lords themselves, and then, in the end, winning battles in the victory tournament. So those are really the key things that you're going to be doing in order to get those medals. In the end, whoever has the most will be the most efficient, best kingdom of the land. But again, you do have to semi-work together to some degree in order to make sure that crystal tower gets built before all the demons run over the land. Now, again, this is a huge game. So I'm going to try to hit on the high points here for you without doing too much of a deep dive into all the rules, because again, there are so many different things you can do in this game. So, like I said, each player will be taking control of a kingdom. Now, every kingdom has their own unique kingdom card, which has special abilities specific to that kingdom. You also have a territory card that you'll receive for questing, and you're going to have world magic. Now, this is going to be mix and match every time you play, very different types of world magic, and they really do affect the world when you use these cards. Very powerful though. You have coin and you've got your tax purse, but more importantly, your main player board. This is where you're going to be building the crystal tower is on your board. You've got your starting resource token. You've got all your different units that you're going to be building, as well as the different types of buildings. And what's neat here is that as you build these buildings, you're just going to be removing those bigger blocks or cubes from your board to show that they're now available. You have to have all the necessary resources in order to do this. And obviously, you will start with a resource of some sort, so that goes in your resource hold in the bottom corner of your board. But now, more importantly, you have your influence cubes, which will relate over to the influence board. You'll be moving those over as you perform these different actions that they relate to. So moving from top to bottom, you first have battle, and then you have colonized, you have questing, you have building, and you have trading. So those are really the core things that you're going to be doing through the course of the game. Obviously, these will also get you medals, all kinds of different things as you move through the course of the game trying to stop the demon horde. Now, like any good game of this type, you're going to have heroes. Every time you play, you may have a different hero attached to your kingdom. There are several to choose from, and you can deal them out randomly however you see fit. Now, they have their own player boards with their own stats and abilities and so forth, but they're going to have on their main stats their movement, they're going to show their magic level, they're going to show how many quests you can be working on at any one time. And they all have a different type of weapon dice that you're going to be using, light, medium, or heavy, and you also have obviously your health at the bottom and so forth. They also will have the ability to carry gear, so things like weapons and armor and even spells, according to, hopefully you have a nice level of magic for your hero. But you know, these heroes work so differently. It's really an interesting twist to the game and how you best utilize them to defeat the oncoming horde and also go on quests. Every turn of the game consists of 3 phases. First and foremost, you have your action phase, and then you have your economy phase, and finally the kingdom phase. Each of the phases has their own set of actions and things you're going to be doing within them. But the action phase itself is kind of the core, because this is where you start to fan out from your kingdom and do all kinds of things like questing and building and so forth. So you have your different types of units. You have standard ones that everyone has, like your infantry, you have your catapults and cavalry, and then also you have your hero. Obviously they have their own special ability, but more importantly you have your emissary. Emissaries are responsible for things like trading with the traveling trading, and they set up territories as well as tear them down. Also, the emissary is responsible for colonizing. So you'll see that as you start to move the different types of units around, they have specific needs and tasks, trying to either fight all the different types of enemies that are out on the board, or they're going to be colonizing like with the emissary, trying to set up different areas of the board, giving your kingdom more advancement and so forth as you try to affect influence on the influence kingdom board and so forth. So it is key to basically evolving your kingdom or moving out into the world. Now, one of the big things I want to highlight about the action phase is the fact that you get to complete or go on these quests. Now, the thing I love about quests is that you have to first acquire them, but you do that in the kingdom phase. Your hero will visit a tavern, and you have to pay in beer in order to acquire a territory in order to go on these specific quests. But what's neat about quests is not only with the territory cards that you'll get, but you'll also get these quest logs, basically, or scrolls, and you open them up, and they usually are in like 3 acts. So they do various things, they have different rewards, and you have to, on the action phase, complete these quests. You won't acquire them in the action phase, but you will complete them, visiting the territories and basically ending your turn or landing or moving through that area. So as you can already see, there's so many options available to you, especially in this action phase. You're either moving, fanning out from your kingdom, you're going to be colonizing, setting up other territories, you're going to be building or raising sites, you're going to be battling demons or special creatures, and you'll have the ability to trade with the traveling merchants, and of course questing, my favorite of the bunch, completing those quests, going to the different territories and so forth. And that kind of rounds out what you're doing in the action phase, and then we go over to the economy phase. So there are 6 types of resources you're going to be dealing with in this game. You've got 3 that are consumable and 3 that are for building. The consumable, you have food, obviously, for getting more troops and so forth. You've got the beer for questing, and you've got mana for magic, as well as some other things. But the building materials you're going to need for all, obviously, buildings that you're creating off of your player board, or even the crystal tower. So you've got metal, wood, and stone for those. And what's neat about this economy is that it really is kind of generated by what the players are doing in the game and what areas they've chosen in order to pull those resources from. Now, you've limited a number of those you can do, and you're going to start with one on your player board, which is the token. And in the case of this example, we have metal. So I'm going to generate metal, and I can choose to sell that metal at the marketplace. And then I can buy other types of resources here as well. All the different costs are here on the left, you'll see. But what's neat though is that how you put things into play, if it's yours, then you put your token under it and all that money will come to you when someone buys it. or if it doesn't have a token, then it just goes to the bank. So I really like how this generates and so forth, but more importantly, you're going after those crystals. You need to generate enough cash and have enough influence in order to draw your first crystal card, and it'll show what crystals you need, and you'll have to purchase those to build the first section of the crystal tower on your player board. Now, you also have to have the 3 building materials for that, the metals, stone, and wood. So it's key to having enough resources to do all the things you need to do. And that's what's interesting about this game in general, is the fact that you could do a little bit of each thing, or you could try to focus on one. That really is up to you and how you want to play. But again, all those different types of EOZ medals are going to get you the win at the end. But you do have to build that crystal tower. Phase 3 is the kingdom phase. Now, like I said before, this is where you're going to get new quests. But there's a lot of building that can happen in this phase. If you look at your player board, your kingdom, that you have the different buildings, you might build a barracks so you can have more types of troops that you can recruit, which you would also do in this phase. And you can obviously add your warehouse, give you different levels of your warehouse, and the marketplace, tavern, the town hall, and wizardry, adding all kinds of new things to your abilities as you move across and try to defeat the demons. But this is also where you would build your crystal tower, is in this phase. So if you have the card, you place it here, and as you build buildings, you'll move up an influence on the influence board as well. So again, relating to all those different types of actions or influence that you're doing from your main board. And what's neat is that you're not just placing a bunch of buildings out into the world. It's all just tracked here on your player board, which is really nice. Now you can also tax to get some extra money. You can't tax every kingdom phase, but it is a nice way to get some extra cash when you need it. Kingdom phase is also where the heroes will heal or potentially need to be revived. Now let's talk about demons. Demons are going to activate after the action phase. So in between action and the economy phase, that's going to happen. And they're going to emerge from the portal. You're going to roll a kingdom dice showing where they're headed and a colored dice to show which path they're going to take. And through the course of the game, more and more will come out, and you try to banish them back to the row at the bottom of the board. These level 1 demons can start to stack and become level 4s. So you got to be careful of that, and you try to keep putting them back on the board, because if you run out of demons on the board, then you're going to start to summon the demon lords. As you see this icon here, they're going to be random, so you'll draw a card, but those demon lords are much more powerful. Now, through the course of the game, as you battle these creatures, you're going to be rolling dice for your infantry and so forth, and the demons have their own dice to roll as well. So it's this battle back and forth. It is something you have to manage constantly through the course of the game. And so the game will come to an end once either the demons have overrun everything and you've got to round 22, or you have defeated the demons by creating your crystal tower. One of the players has created it and banished them forever, and then you'll be totaling up points. Again, it's going to all come down to who is the most efficient player kingdom and who has the most EOZ medals in the end. So again, there are multiple ways to gather those through the course of the game, and so you have to keep that in mind. And what I discovered is that you really cannot just try to focus on one thing. You really do have to fan out and do multiple things and be kind of that jack of all trades. But again, it gives you different ways to play the game. I can't wait to try it a different path with a different kingdom and just see how it pans out. And those battles with demons really keep you on your toes. You feel like you're being overrun for sure. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, yes, this was just a top-level overview. There's so much going on in this game, so many intricacies that we could just go on and on. This video would be like 30+ minutes. But I just wanted to give you some of the highlights, some of the things that I found interesting about it, and you will want to deep dive into this. It is a lengthy game, so keep that in mind. And if you like that big questing and just discovering this world and working with the economy, trying to manage the demons and manage your kingdom, it really has all that flavor for sure. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.